everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Swami Vijay, and this is Swami Vijay speaking to you. वीडियो तो रिकॉर्ड हो जाती है, ऑडियो रिकॉर्ड नहीं होती है. Okay, fine. So today, I first of all let me welcome all of you to the first session of our MEG program. That is, today we are dealing with MEG 01, the whole say program code that is about British poetry, and in that today we'll be learning on the first book. This is the book. Hope all of you have got the book, or else you can download it from our site, right? Okay, so today we'll be going through the whole book, and it is all about British poetry and its starting, right? So you may have 10 books with you, that is right from one book 1 to 10, and we'll be having 10 sessions, right? So in each session we'll be dealing with each book which you have with you. Book means the study material which you have received. Okay, so so as I have told you, see, we'll be going through the each book right from one. So why we are following it? Actually, the book has been arranged in a manner that, see, the whole thing. This see, the whole book is being arranged according to the chronological order of the evolution of poetry. Okay, so in the book one we could find that we are starting from the first the starting of the modern period. Okay, and as you are beginners in literature, so far you might have learned, see, in your BA classes about the ages, different ages of English literature. Can anybody tell me which are the three ages of English literature? Anybody in the class? See, you can just unmute and answer, right? Romantic period, romanticism, romantic period, romantic period, Puritan age, modern age. Yeah, actually, see, all the names which you have told here are some ages of literature, but I'm talking about the whole division, right? First and foremost, we can divide. See, actually, you have got a little bit of scattered idea about literature. So I'll just consolidate it and make it in a sorted manner, right? I'll just consolidate it. Yeah. Okay. So first one is old age. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So first one is somebody was talking to me, right? Classic poetry. Somebody was talking to me, right? Classic poetry. Yeah, see, I'll make it clear, right? Middle and yeah. So let me say, right? So please note it down. So as a whole, we can divide the periods into three, that is, ages into three, that are old age, middle age, and modern age, right? Old age is there, that where actually we could trace literature from there, and there are many ballads and epic poetries which we could find. Actually nowadays we have many research works are going on, and many have found old poems. Actually, poems are something which people use to communicate or express their emotion. We all know that, right? So, from the age when human beings have born or made societies and started to communicate or started to use art form in their life, we could say that from there starts the starting of poetry. Okay, so in old age, as see, I can give you some examples like Beowulf. Beowulf, have you heard about that? It's a very old epic poem, and a lot of poems are there which you can, if you are interested, you can go through that and read more, right? It's a old age period. Then comes the middle age period, or you can call it as medieval period, right? In medieval period, actually, poems were written in a highly imaginative manner, in a chivalrous manner. Apart from imagination, we could find that people are having a lot of superstitious beliefs in them, and they were in a fairy world, and they used poetry to communicate such pompous superstition in their imagination. And we could find that many stories are being disseminated through poems, right? So we could find heroism in that, chivalry. You know what is chivalry? Chivalrous poems. Chivalry means, see, you might have heard about knights and all. Knights, have you seen a knight? See picture of a knight, somebody who is wearing whole see shield and everything. There will be covered with a metallic dress, and they'll have a sharp edged sword in their hand, and they'll be traveling on a horse. And many see imaginative stories are behind that, and dragons and many superstitious supernatural elements will be there. So such were medieval poems. Then came the modern period, right? And it starts in the 14th century. So actually, for you students and for all our literature, for the sake of syllabus, we are including, or we are starting our learning of literature right from this modern era. Okay, modern age. Don't get confused with modernism and modern age. Modern age is an age which starts in the 14th century, right? And before that, we do have many other traces of literature where we could find that, see, medieval age is there, medieval or middle age, both you can see. And before that, old age is there. So, if you're interested, you can read such stuffs. But for the sake of learning literature for the examination or doing this program, we just want to start from this 14th century modern age. So your textbook is being designed from that particular age. Okay. So in the first book of this poetry, you can find that, see, we'll be starting from the 14th century. It is in the 14th century when this modern age is starting. Okay. Is that clear for you? Any doubts regarding
Yes,
this?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
yes, ma'am.
So
No doubt.
such an idea should be there in your mind, so whenever you read some books and all, you'll get confused about this, right? So you should wash off all these confusions as you people are going to achieve or pursue mastery in literature, right? So you should know the whole background and what this literature is, where it starts and all. And actually, at least you should know literature from in a chronological order, or according to the political background through which it is going on, through the eras or through the centuries, right from this 14th century. Okay. And then now we are in the 21st century, so we can find that in the 20th century onwards, we could find that we are stepping into, that is 21st century onwards, we are stepping into a new type of literature. So in this all eras throughout these centuries, century wise, we could trace a great change in literature, right from this 14th century, then 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19, and 20 and 21. You could find a great change in the a series of change which is happening throughout in the literature. Okay. So, as I told you, see, can you just comment why this change is happening? Why literature, the style of literature is changing throughout the era, or throughout as the time passes? Can anybody comment on that? No need of a pre idea or say knowledge, but you can just comment. What will be the reason? World war is a great reason. Very good, Prajita. World war is a great reason. But when was World War? When was World War? In which century a World War happened? Yeah, so it is in the 20th century, right? So it is in the last phase which we talked about, right? So World War is one of the reason, which was a recent change which happened. But throughout, see, what is World War actually? It is politics, right? So the political change, the social and political changes which is happening in human beings and their lives and their they say their countries and their mingling, these are giving birth to changes, right? Yeah, Renaissance, very good. Renaissance is a great change. Likewise, see, as you have put here, very good children. I'm really happy with you people because I never get such beautiful answers whenever I ask such questions to you all. Right, I'm really happy. Anyway, so Renaissance is one more reason, right? Very good. Renaissance is one more reason. Then there is Reformation, religious reformation happened, renaissance happened. Then I'll come to that. Those who don't know never get panicked that you don't know all these terms, what can I do and all. I'll really explain all the things to you. Don't get panicked, right? So then many other political reasons are there. Okay, so so as ages passes, there's changes happens. Yeah, religious changes, that is reformation, right, Rajita? Yeah, I'll come to that. So likewise, so it is human beings who are living and they have got politics, they have got ego issues, many things are going on. So we know that uh, that is people are really getting into many conflicts. People are really self-centered. They want to improve their own lifestyle, they want to increase their land. So many political issues are coming, and so which results in changes, right? So flux in society is really inevitable, right? A flux will be there in society. So what I'm here coming to my point is that, see, actually, what is poetry? Poetry, what is that? Can anybody tell me what is poetry?
It's
Yeah.
the spontaneous overflow of powerful emotions
Wow.
recollected in tranquility.
Very good, Ashwant. That is the definition of. Can you just complete
That
it?
is the definition of. Can you just complete it? Sorry, ma'am, I don't remember the rest of the part.
Yeah. Actually, it is the definition of poetry given by Wordsworth.
Yeah,
Right.
I know that.
Very good. Very good. Actually, there Wordsworth says that. Okay,
Actually, there.
can you just mute it? Yeah. Actually, there Wordsworth tells that poetry is the continuous overflow of emotion, powerful emotion inside a person or the poet, and when he recollects it in the tranquility, and it comes to him as it overflows as words in him. Actually, it is the definition of poetry according to Wordsworth. But many other writers have given many different definitions of poetry. So, to put in a nutshell, we can say that poetry is a communication in whatever way they are communicating. Maybe like just like Wordsworth has told, it is a communication which comes from a powerful expression of powerful emotion in him, or some others says that yeah, expression, yeah. So, or some others, why is the word, yeah, some others tell that see poetry is see it is used for political satire. In a particular era, actually poetry was used as a communicative say weapon for political satire. Poetry is used for weapon as a war. Poetry is used for reformation in the people, for disseminating religion, for disseminating concepts in the people, for social reformation. So, and for Wordsworth, as Ashwin has told, it is just a powerful emotion expression or overflow of emotion which he feels inside. Or there are people who really plan and write poetry for making a great change. So poetry is just we can consolidate by telling that it's a communication for a purpose, right? Just like we are talking each other. Actually, I'm here talking to you. Why? I'm here talking to you to help you out to understand or crack what is there in this poetry, British poetry, right? And that and each and every poets are there, not only poets, every writers and every art forms, not only writers. Even if you are going to see art forms like paintings, what the painters are doing, actually they are not using words there. What they are doing, they are using colors for their expression, for expressing their emotion or their ideology or their ideas or concepts, right? So poetry is such a similar piece of art. Okay, so poetry is such a piece of art which is being used to communicate for any purpose. Actually, it's a communication like any art. Okay, actually, music is there. Without words, you can make a person cry by just a violinist. A violinist can make a person cry. He can trigger the emotion of a person, or he can change the emotion of a person from melancholy to happiness. Music has got such a power. We know musical therapy and all, right? So these are the things which are happening, right? All these are art forms. All art forms have got power in them to make a change, to make a change to the audience. This is what you have to understand from the first lesson of your book 1, right? So all of you, those who have book, can go to the unit 1, that is from the evaluation of portraits towards the explication of poems. So evaluation, so, what do you mean by evaluation? Here in your textbook, see, they are talking about in this first unit, they have given a young lady, a picture, a portrait of a young lady beneath a tree. Those who have textbook can see it, or else I will show it here. See, hope all of you can see it, right? Did you see that? Yeah. So,
Yes, ma'am.
and they're telling that actually it's a portrait and how you can evaluate it. So each and every one, if I'm coming to one and one, say, as this is not a regular class, we are just giving you see, contact classes, and we have got only 10 sessions for the whole 10 books, or 10 books. We can't go through each and everything. If it would have been a regular class, I would make you more clear, but I think you can understand what I'm telling now. See, a portrait, how you can evaluate a portrait. If I'm coming to each and every one in this class, I'm sure that each and every person will be having different evaluation, because you have got different backgrounds. You are coming from different background, differently brought up. You are individually, your genetical makeup is different. You all have individual difference as well as social differences, right? So your perspectives and your thinking power will be different. So a single expression of art can express a lot of evaluation, or a lot of conclusions could be brought up, right? So that is something really wonderful thing about poetry. The same piece of art could be evaluated in different ways and different manners. And see, here through the first unit, actually, you are being taken to the literature through a vehicle by the say writer of this particular book. He that they are trying to take you or motivate you towards the literature as an art. So in the first lesson or in the first unit, all what you have to understand is that it is the critical appreciation of any artistic piece. Okay, so what do you mean by critical appreciation? As I told you, see, I showed you a picture, a portrait of a girl or a lady who is standing on under beneath a tree, isn't it? And if I'm coming to you, see, actually nothing is there. That is a explanation which all of you can say because that is explicit. That is really obvious to everyone, right? Everyone can say that. That will be the first description which each and every one can give, right? But then what is critical comment? Then what is critical evaluation? See, if I tell you to evaluate it, then you'll be thinking, you will be doing a brainstorming process there. You'll be going through it deeper and deeper, watching the piece of art or cracking it, or deeper and deeper you are thinking, musing, and musing means thinking, right? You are musing and going, getting into that, right? And actually what psychologically what happens is that what is your background or what is your mindset, as I told you, according to your particular see a unique individual difference in you, you will be explaining it. So that is the particular critical description or evaluation which a man is doing. Just telling that, see what you see from this portrait, then answering that, yeah, it's a lady who is standing under a tree, that is a very peripheral explanation. But when you are evaluating an artistic piece, you have to get into that and you have to comment on it in a critical manner. So, just like that, each and every poetry before you will tell you, actually, will be teaching you or the whole see explanations in your textbook will be there. See, if you're going through each and every lines by just translating its or by cracking its line in a peripheral manner, then actually you can't enjoy the poem. If you want to enjoy the poem, you should know what the poet has is telling there. The poet is hiding something in that, which is your job to crack. So, first and foremost thing of a reader is that you should know about the poet, you should know about the background of the poet, in the political or the social background in which he is writing, and and in which political wing he belongs to, and why he is writing, and what is the personal concept or ideology of that particular poet. Then only you could understand that what actually the poet is doing in the poem. Okay, so that is the first step. Then first, at least you have to do that. As students, as literature students, beginners of learning literature, at least you should do that. And beyond that, we have got research works. As you know, nowadays it's an era of research, right? And what is the job which is being done in research? In research, actually, first by reading that poem, or understanding the poem in the manner which I have told you, that is about the see, knowing about the poet and knowing the purpose of the poet, his communication and all. After that, you have to become a reader who should negate the poet and his background, and you can do more research by thinking that you are the person who has written the poem, or just the words are before you and you have to negate all other background which you have learned about the poem, and you can go through different perspective, that is out of wall thinking on that poem or any critical work or any artistic work, whether it is novel, poem, or anything, and you can come out with new perspectives on that poem. That is something which is called as research. That is something your contribution which you are doing. But as beginners of the learners, beginning learners of this poetry, first job which you have to do is that you have to trace out the political background and the poet and should know about the poet and then learn the poem. Then only you can crack the poem in a proper manner. Right? Is that clear for you? Any doubts?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
No, no doubt.
Thank you. So in the first unit, actually, the textbook is trying to give you all these ideas that how to evaluate critically a particular piece of artistic work, right? And and actually, you are being mentally prepared for that to learn a poem, right? And in the second unit, actually, we are coming to poetry, how to study a poetry. So far we were learning about a general artistic form. So in the second unit we are just concentrating, or we are is the streamline is being made, yeah, for learning particularly on poetry. Pardon, anybody there? Okay, sorry. So here, in the second unit, we are gonna learn that how to study a poetry. Right. So, as I have told you, poetry is a communication process as any other artistic piece. Poetry is also a communication which is happening, and actually, the poet is disseminating his ideas, his emotions, his everything. Right, whatever may be the purpose of the communication, he's doing it through poems. Right. And the beautiful thing about poem, apart from other genres, you know what are genres, other genres? You might have learned about genres and genre. What do you pronounce that? Genre. Yeah, actually, the pronunciation is genre, right? Yeah. Which are the different genres? Can you just give me some example of literature genres? Come on.
No, ma'am. Fiction, romance, tragedy, comedy, fiction,
Yeah,
drama,
fiction, drama, very good. Yeah, poetry, drama, fiction,
poetry.
prose, very good, very good. Yeah, these are the different genres. Yeah,
These are the different genres.
okay.
Novel.
Yeah, novel. Fiction means novel itself. Yeah, non-fictions and yeah, non-fiction. Yeah, very good. So these are the genres. Now you have got an idea. Those who, yeah. So those who have got, those who don't know all these things, please jot it down, right? See, am I going in a speed manner? Should I slow down my pace? Is there any such problem for anybody? Please comment. Megha,
No, ma'am.
Megha, you were telling something. I didn't get you.
No, ma'am. We can understand.
Okay, fine. So is if there is any issue with any one of you, that see, if I am going in a faster manner, you can just comment. Feel free to tell. Okay. Then okay, fine. Then comes so as I have told you in the second lesson, that is in the second unit, you have just to understand that the reading, how to read a literature, and see how the poet is what the poet is doing. See, as I have told you, never think that a poet is a person who is here, it is being given, written in your textbook in such a manner that never think that a poet is a person who is living in a a lonely tower without mingling anybody, or he is just a person alone. He is a person who lives in a society. He or she, right? He or she. they are influenced on by their society and on their society. So actually the society is make shaping us, right? Our family, our bringing up, our family, the society in which we are brought up, all these things make us an individual. So, likewise, a poet is also forming his own concepts and ideology from his own background. For example, if you're taking the example of, have you ever heard about Wilfred Owen? Wilfred Owen, the poet? Just,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
War poet.
Yeah, very good, Sajida. He is a war poet. Actually, why he is a war poet? Sajida, can you give me more explanation why he became a war poet?
I think I think he himself is a soldier,
Yeah, very good,
and
Sajida. Actually, he himself is a soldier and he knows the atrocities of war. He knows about the background or the reasons and the meaninglessness of war. Actually, for whom this war is happening? The war is happening for the vested interest of many leaders who are making these soldiers, poor soldiers, to die for their own plans and see their own issues, politics, right? And in the name of, see, always the name is given as, see, if you are a patriotic person, then you have to. Obviously, defense is very important, but why defense? If all are coming into a loving nature, if all are breaking up the boundaries which we have made in the throughout the world. See, I have heard some child asking his father, who has drawn these lines over the globe? He was, see, actually a globe was there in front of that child, and he is asking his father that who has drawn all these lines over this ball. So, actually, who has drawn all these lines? Who made these boundaries? And who made this hatred of brown boundaries? We all are belonging to a single race, that is human race, and humanitarianism is very important. If it is there, if each and every person who belongs to it, regardless of his country, he believes that in loving and sharing the culture and see taking and giving freedom for his own belief and freedom for his own expression, then there is no need of any boundaries. Then there is no need of any war or defense. See, so that is what Wilfred Owen was trying to disseminate through his poem, because he was a person who has gone through it. So, likewise, many other poets, if you are taking any poet, he is writing that particular poem because he is undergoing that issue. So, every poet, so as I have, so I'm coming to, I just talked about the one of the example just to make you understand that each and every poet is talking about his own background. Have you ever read a novel, Kite Runner, by Khalid Hosseini?
yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Who
Yes,
has
ma'am.
written it? Yeah, Khalid
Yes,
Hosseini.
ma'am.
Yeah, what he is telling actually he talks about his own experience in that. He is an Afghani person. He lived in Afghanistan when Afghanistan was a beautiful place to live. His childhood was that, in that particular situation, he has undergone his childhood. Then what happened? Then politics came, people came in, interfered, and politics was there. Yeah, he's a diasporic novel, and he and his father was forced to flee from his own land, and they settled in America. And even though he went from America, his own land, his experiences were haunting him, and he wanted to talk to the world that what is actually happening, why this hatred. So this is whatever lessons or whatever pieces of art you take, people are expressing their own emotions and expressions. They have something to say. They have something to express there, right? So, so what I'm up to is that, see, that is literature. So that is poetry. When we come to poetry, the beautiful aspect of poetry is that poetry has got a great, it's an arrow. See, if you are, have you heard about arrow and bow? Actually, it's an arrow which very, yeah, which penetrates to the heart of the person who is reading it. It has got such a beautiful expression of language through rhetorical devices used in that. We know in poetry a lot of rhetorical devices are being used. Have you heard about rhetorical device? Literary device? Can you put some examples, my dear children? Literary
Any
device?
metaphor like the metaphors,
Very good, Serena.
personification,
Very good, Marin.
personification,
Yeah. Metaphor, personification. Yeah. Figure of speech. Figures of speech. Yeah. Alliteration. Assonance.
alliteration, hyperbole.
It is hyperbole. Pronunciation is hyperbole, right?
Okay, ma'am. Hyperbole.
Hyperbole, hyperbole,
Hyperbole.
yeah, hyperbole. Then synecdoche, that is the pronunciations which many of you, many students are actually uttering in a say mistake, by mistake they pronounce it in different manner. It is synecdoche, hyperbole, then metonymy is there, many are there, we know. What are actually these things doing? Many names are there, figures of speech or rhetoric device. Actually, what they are doing in this poem? Actually, in novels and prose also such expressions are used, figures of speeches are used. But the wonderful thing about poetry is that there is another difference in poetry. You can come across that in page number 30. In page number 30, very important thing which each and every literature student should know, that is prosody. You know what is prosody? Have you heard about prosody? No, nothing. It's just a new term, that's all, right? What is that? It's the grammar of poetry. And don't get panicked by listening the term grammar. Okay, grammar is very easy actually. So, what is this? Grammar of poetry means, you may be astonished to hear that, right? Actually, nothing is there. Poetry has got a particular structure, right? And you should know, you should recognize those structure of poetry. Right. So, knowing the structure of poetry and some rules are there for poetry, and we know that as it comes to the latest poems, we could find that we are getting away from rules, right? But in the earlier poems and all, we could find a lot of rules in that. And nowadays we are using in the 20th century, free words and all are used, where nothing is taken care, no rhyming, nothing is taken care, you can just write poems as if. But see, so what is prosody means, you should know something about poetry. So have you seen a poetry? You might have seen a poetry, right? Poem, right? See, what? How can you just
Yes.
explain the structure of a poem? Can anybody explain the structure of a poem? Just comment whatever you feel.
Stanzas.
Yeah, very good. Stanza, very good, Srina. Prajita, very good. Yeah, it is stanza is a very obvious thing, right? Explicit one. Yeah, that is stanza. Every poems will have some sort of stanza in that. Very good. So stanza is the first structural partition which we can find. Then further, in within a stanza, what you can find? Rhyming
Rhyme
scheme,
scheme,
yeah, rhyming
rhyme scheme,
scheme, good,
repetition.
yeah. But there are lines, right? Lines are there. So many lines are forming stanza, right? Lines are there, which are being arranged in a particular, may be in rhyming scheme, may not be in rhyming scheme. It's not important that every, yeah, meter, I'll come to that. It's not important that every poem should have rhyming scheme. There are poems without rhyming scheme, and you call that poem unrhymed. But lines are very important, right? So many lines which are being arranged as a group is called a stanza, right? Then within the lines, there are feet. Have you heard about feet or
Yes,
foot?
yes.
What is that? Feet means many foots. A foot, what is that?
To stand and to sit.
Very good. Yeah. Anyway, many of them may be there who doesn't know this, so I'll just explain it, right? So children, you might have heard or learned about phonetics, right? In phonetics or in your transcription in your degree classes, you might have learned syllables, right? Syllables are there. What is a syllable? Yeah, what is a syllable? A word you are actually, what is a phoneme? Phoneme is a single
First come.
sound. Yeah, a single sound. But if you want to utter something, see, you can't utter a single phoneme sometimes, right? For that, you need, if it is p, that there you are using p and right? A vowel is being joined with that. So the simplest division of a word which could be uttered is called syllable, right? Those who don't know, I'm just explaining it, right? So phoneme is a single sound, but you can never utter a single sound without the help of a vowel in that, right? Like especially when the phoneme comes from a consonant, you can't pronounce it alone, right? P, t, and all, we are using t and with that, or t. If you are telling t, then t and e you are using. So a companionship of for say a vowel is very important for uttering a single sound. So a word which could be first, when you are seeing a word and you are transcribing it into see phonetic transcription, and when you are breaking it. Ayyo, itu boleh. Very fast, Kathy. Am I audible? Your connection is lost. Recording. Recording. Active pada ആവണില്ല കേട്ടോ. ഡൗൺലോഡ് ഒന്ന് ആക്റ്റീവ് അതൊന്ന് മാറ്റി കോളേജിൻ്റെതല്ല. നീ ഒന്ന് ഇത് കഴിഞ്ഞതാണോ ഡേറ്റ ബാക്ക് ബാക്ക് കഴിഞ്ഞാണോ? ബാക്ക് കഴിഞ്ഞ നോക്കി തടക്ക് തടക്ക്.
മറ്റോള് ഇന്നലെ രാവിലെ തൊട്ട് രാത്രി വരെ ഫുൾ കാണിയുണ്ട്.
അല്ല പെട്ടെന്ന് പാക്ക് ഇടാൻ കഴിയോ? ഫാസ്റ്റ് ആവോ? അതാ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു ചോദിച്ചതാന്നല്ലേ പാക്ക് ഉണ്ടോന്ന്.
എനിക്കറിയില്ലോ എക്സ്പ്രഷൻ എത്തുന്നറിയോ അടുത്ത മാസം.
ഫുഡ് ഇട്ട് വേഗം പാക്ക് ഇട്ടോ.
ഇതറിയോ തിരക്കാക്കി
ഇതറ ചെയ്തിട്ട് പാക്ക് ഇട്ടാൽ മതി. ഇതറ ചെയ്തോ. അത് കൊണ്ടോവല്ലേ വൈകുന്നേരം ഇതറിയണേ. ഐഫോണില്ലേ? ഓണറാ? ഓണർ ചെയ് തടക്ക് തടക്ക്. ഇപ്പം ഇത് വരൂ വേഗം ഇട്. Hello, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm really sorry. Actually, the pack of my dongle has gone. I'm really sorry. Yeah. Where yeah, we were talking about syllable, right? So syllable is the simplest uttering word or uttering part of a word, right? After transcribing a particular word, you can divide that particular word into the simplest unit, that is syllable, right? And there you can find that stressed and unstressed syllables will be there. So the whole poetry, the line will be, say, arranged as stressed and unstressed fashion. That fashion of arrangement is called, of a single line is called, the fashion of arrangement of stressed and unstressed syllable in a single line is called meter. Okay, it is called a meter. Then you can find a single fashion which is repeated in the same line. A fashion will be there, that is two stressed, then one unstressed, the two stressed, then one unstressed. Not A A B B. That is rhyming. Don't get confused. A A B B is rhyming, the end of the line. I'm talking about the line. Okay, the whole line you have to transcribe it and make into syllables, and the syllable should be divided, right? Then you can find that, see, a fashion of syllables will be there, arrangement maybe like stressed unstressed, then again stressed unstressed, then again stressed unstressed, or you can find unstressed stressed, then unstressed, stressed, then unstressed, stressed. That's another fashion, right? Or you can find that two unstressed, then one stressed, then again two unstressed and one stressed. That's another fashion. So the single fashion there is called as food. A single fashion, that is, see, if it is two unstressed and one stressed, then that is a single food, right? Then another same repetition you can find. So that is known as food, and the whole feet makes a meter of that particular line of a poem. Is that clear? I'm sure that there'll be
Yes,
a
ma'am.
lot of doubts for you. You can clear it.
Yes, ma'am.
What, yes? Is it clear or you have got doubt? Rishbana? It's clear. Okay, thank you. I'm really happy with you because be honest with me, right? Yeah. So that's all about feet. So that is only the grammar which you want to know in this poetry. Very simple, right? So a particular fashion will be there which is repeated in the line of stressed and unstressed syllables. That single fashion is known as, that single unit of fashion is known as foot, and the whole feet arrangement is the whole line, the feet arrangement of the whole line is known as that meter. So then what is a meter? See, you can find in page number 31, you will come across types of meters, right? So in that you can find, see, monometer, diameter, trimeter, tetrameter, pentameter. What is that? That is nothing, the length of the meter. Namle, if you are see, if you are counting the whole meter, that is, sorry, the whole feet in the single line, then you will get one, two, three, like feet will be there in a single line, right? If you are getting only one foot in that, then it is known as monometer. That particular line poem is of monometric, right? Then if there are 2 feet in a single line of a poem, then it is diametric poem. If there is 3 feet, then it is triametric. Likewise, you can say tetrametric, pentametric, right? Normally we come across pentametric poems. Okay, pentametric and hexametric also are seen. Okay, so that is known as meter. So that is the length of the meter which we are considering there. And according to the fashion of the meter, then there you can divide it into different names like iambic meter, trachymeter, anapist meter, and dactyl meter. For the time being, it is enough to know these four, right? Iambic, trachy, anapist, and dactyl. Then what is iambic meter? Iambic meter is, there you can find one unstressed, then one stressed, then that is 1 feet, then one foot, one unstressed and stressed. That is the 1 foot. Then you can find the same similar repetition of feet in that particular line. So unstressed, stressed, then again unstressed, stressed, then again unstressed, stressed. That fashion is known as iambic. Okay. Then trachy means the opposite. Stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed, unstressed. That is trachy. That fashion is known as trachy. Then again you can find anapest. Anapest is two unstressed, then one stressed. Then that's one fashion, one foot. Then again, two unstressed, then one stress, then two unstressed, one stress. So it goes like that. That fashion is known as anapest. Then again comes dactyl. Dactyl in the opposite of anapest, that is one stressed, two unstressed, one stressed, two unstressed, one stressed, two unstressed. So this much is needed. So these four fashion, at least these four fashions you have to take into your mind. And we talked about length, right? So while we comment on a particular poem or the prosody of a poem, you have to talk about both this um, metrical fashion, the name of the metrical fashion, as well as the length should be mentioned. So see, we come across iambic pentameter, right? So what will be that? Can anybody see explain it? What is iambic pentameter? Normally every poems, most of the poems in our English literature, you can see that it is iambic pentameter. What is that? It's a very common use of metrical use, used by most of the poets. Then what will be that? Iambic pentameter. Iambic means one stressed, then unstressed. Sorry, in the other way. One unstressed, then stressed. One unstressed, then stressed. Likewise, five repetition will be there because it's pentameter, right? So one foot is unstressed and stressed. That is why it is being called iambic. That fashion is known as iambic. Unstressed, stressed package is known as, that fashion is known as iambic. It is been repeated five times in a single line. So it is pentameter. If it is been repeated six times, then it is iambic hexameter. Or if it is repeated four times, it will be iambic tetrameter. That's all. Very simple. Right. And if it is in other way, say if you find that one stressed then unstressed, one stressed unstressed, likewise three times it is going, then what will be that? Trachytriameter, right? Trachytriameter. If it is trachypentameter, then stressed unstressed will be repeated five times in a line, in a single line I'm talking, right? So it is called meter. Is it clear for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If any doubt, if those who have doubt, you can contact me personally, right? You can clear your doubts. Okay. So for the sake of proceeding, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. I
Yes,
felt like I
ma'am.
have lost my coverage. Yeah, if any see interference or any problem is there in my audibility, then you have to comment, right? Tell me. Then let us see that. See, now you are masters in prosody. That's all. It is that much is there in prosody. Okay, don't worry about it further. Okay. Then comes see. Then what you have to know is that blank verse, heroic couplet, and all are there. So actually, I told you that very common thing which you can find in this English poetry is the very common meter is iambic pentameter, right? So all of you please write it down, that iambic pentameter is the most common measure of English poetry, right? Then it is generally found that in two distinct kinds, the unrhymed variety. So now you know that we are learning, sorry, Sminta Maria. Yeah, okay. Okay, so now we learned about measurement, right? The measurement and fashion of poetic lines and all. Then let us see the rhyming schemes. That see, as we have see, as you have told earlier, when I asked you about the structure of a particular poem, you talked about rhyming scheme, right? So I answered that there are poems where you can find rhymed, or and there are poems which won't be rhymed, right? So a poem which doesn't have rhyme in it is called with metrical measurement. The metrical measurement will be there. Metrical measurement, which I talked just now, that is like iambic pentameter or trachea and all, right? That is metrical measurement. So the metrical measurement will be followed, but no rhyming scheme will be there. Such poems are called blank verse, right? Such poems are called blank verse. Please note it down, right? These are the grammar of poetry. So a person who want to learn poetry so if who want to start learning poetry should know all these things, right? So, what is a blank verse? A blank verse is a poem where the metrical measurement will be considered. It will be followed by the poet, but no rhyming scheme will be there. You know what a rhyming scheme is, right? The end of the line will be in a rhyming fashion. That is, if it is ending with E, then again E, or in another alternative ways, that like A, B, B, you have told it is very simple rhymes from your very lower section onwards. You are learning that what is a rhyming scheme. So I don't want to waste time for that. So but what you should know is that what a blank verse is. A blank verse is a poem which follows a metrical scheme. That is, metrical measurement is followed, but the rhyming scheme will not be there. So, a poem with meter but unrhymed is known as blank verse, right? Blank verse. See, the submission time for assignment and all, you can clear it from coordinators, right? I'm just an academic counselor, so I won't know all these notifications which are coming from the office. It is official part, right? So I'll be just taking classes, and if you have got any doubts in your academic portion, then you can ask me. But your official things like submissions, your marks, your examination, all these stuffs you have to talk with your you have to clear it with the coordinator. Okay, fine. Because if I answer, see, the many confusions may happen, because we are not having any access to the official things, right? So that is the only reason, not that I'm not telling, right? Okay, then comes up another thing is heroic couplet. You might have heard about heroic couplet, right? Personally, yeah, I'll give you my number. Sure. If you want my number, you can all of you just note it down. So blank verse should be repeated. Okay, fine. What is a blank verse? So I told you that in a poetry, we are if we are screening that poetry. What do you mean by screening? Screening or scanning a poetry. See, a term is there, scanning poetry, right? Scansion of poetry. What is that? You're scanning a poetry, just like scanning your belly, abdomen scan, and all you take, right? In your medical term, you know what a scanning is. That is, you are going through it in a deeper manner. You're knowing the inner things, right? So while you're scanning a poetry, we can find that the poetry is being a poem is being divided into. Yeah, I'll share my phone number. Just after the soon after the class, I'll share it, right? Okay. While scanning the poetry, we can find that the whole poem is being divided into many stanzas, right? That you know. Then each stanza has got lines, right? And each line is being designed in a fashion of food, that like unstressed stress. We talked about that, right? And a particular length of this feet is known as, that is, number of feet determines the length of that particular line, and it talks about the length or measurement of that line. Okay, so that is known as metrics of that particular poem. Then rhyming scheme is there, that you know, that is ending style of each line, that is rhyming scheme. It ends in a particular sound, and that sound will be repeated in a particular fashion in each and every line of a single stanza, okay, or the whole poetry. That is known as rhyming. Okay, so don't confuse with metrics and rhyming. Metrics is talking about the single line. Rhyming means the fashion of the whole, each and every end of line in the whole poem or in the whole stanza. Right. So, a poem which is written by considering the feet or the fashion of feet, like iambic pentameter, like, see, so the metrical consideration is being done, or the metrical rule is being followed by the poet, but he is not following the rhyming scheme. The poet is not following the rhyming scheme. Such poem is known as blank verse. So, in a blank verse, the poet will be following the metrical rule, but he won't follow the rhyming scheme. Such a poem is known as a blank verse. Right? Is that clear? Yeah. Normally, we come across poems in a very cliche manner. If you are seeing, we come across poems where metrical rule will be followed, and also rhyming scheme will be there, right? But there are poems which are written in blank verse. That was a fashion. So that is blank verse. And another variety of rhyme is heroic couplet. Heroic couplet. Heroic couplet. Heroic couplet. What is that? So in heroic couplet, you can find that it is rhymed and it is iambic pentameter. Okay, so heroic couplet is particularly a poem which follows iambic pentameter in the meter. See, in blank verse, you can follow any meter, any fashion of meter. But in a heroic couplet, very particularly, iambic pentameter is being followed, and it will be in a rhymed scheme, rhymed way. The rhyming scheme will be followed. Is that clear? Actually, heroic couplet was something which was introduced by Chaucer in the starting of modern age. So it's an old fashioned heroic couplet, right? So I told you, using rhyming scheme itself is an old fashion of writing poem.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
In previous year question papers only can we can see the adaptations are there. So it's very difficult to attend. So can we expect descriptive questions in exams in December?
See, actually, in poetry, what is description? It is descriptive itself, Sminta. It's not objective type. It is descriptive itself. If something lines are being given and you are asked to annotate, it means, see, I will tell you how to answer. See, I'll give you an idea how to answer a particular question in a poetry. In poetry, actually, you should know, while answering the questions of poetry, you should know what for the evaluator is see what the evaluator is looking for. And if you are satisfying the evaluator in that sense, you can completely score the mark. But just right.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
uh, so many annotations are there. It is
Yeah,
very difficult to find out which poem it is, who wrote it.
that is very important,
So,
Smita, because you are learning PG mastery. Yeah.
okay.
So the syllabus, the poems which have been prescribed for you in the syllabus should be very much aware. You should be very much aware about the poem. You should read it.
So after 2018, we can see the descriptive questions are there. For
Yeah, descriptive.
example,
Actually, Sminta, let me clear you one thing. Both are descriptive, right? Don't use it in that manner. Descriptive means, say, either objective or descriptive, right? So, annotation and questions, right? Question answer.
yes,
The essay
yes,
questions and annotation, right? That's what you are talking.
ah,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah, in poetry, you can expect questions from critical appreciations. And even if you are writing a notation, you have to go through such you should write in a manner of essay itself. That is what I'm telling.
Mm.
Okay, and I'll make it clear, don't worry. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
So
ma'am.
I think this is so early to discuss that. Once when we go through the whole books, we'll be giving you a session for that. In the last session, we'll be discussing about how to answer a question. See, unless and until we are not going through the whole poems and whole textbooks, so we can't. I can't crack your doubts in the earlier stage like this, right? Is that clear, Sminta? Sminta, hope I could satisfy you.
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. I am here.
Yeah.
It's quite clear for me. Thank you.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Don't worry. I'll clear it in later part, right? Later session, right? Okay. So I
Okay.
hope you have got what is heroic couplet, right? Heroic couplet. So likewise, see you next. So that's all about in this particular session. That is unit 2 that you have to know about. Then again, you there rhyme and rhythm is being given there. It's very simple. You can go through it in a very vague manner. No need of sticking on each and every points which has been written in your say study material, but you should once you have to read it completely, then mark down which are the important points and then make a note of it. And if you're going through in such a way, I'll assure you that not only writing your MA classes, but I assure you that these textbooks or these study materials will help you a lot for your net examination also, because I have cleared my net examination uh, without going for any say going to any coaching centers, but just by teaching you people this MEGs, right? So that much consolidated package is it, but just you have to read it once, at least once you have to go through the lessons and note down the important points, and then after that while you're revising you can just depend upon your notes, right? Okay. Then next is see, then you can see that in rhyming scheme and all, you what you have to understand is that I told you about rhyme and rhythm. So in rhyme, you should know about sonnet. You heard about sonnet? Yeah, heroic couplet follows iambic pentameter, and also it has rhyming scheme. Hope you have understood that much, right? Now let us switch on to sonnet, right? Have you heard about sonnets?
Yeah.
It's a type of poem, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
What's its speciality?
It has 14 lines
Very nice. It has
and
got 14 lines.
uh,
Very good. With a particular
follows iambic pentameter.
yeah, then with a particular fashion of rhyming scheme will be there. Very good. A couplet will be there. See, this couplet and all you can find in a particular style, right? So sonnet as it altogether, you should never write that it has got couplet. Couplet is a peculiarity of a particular sonnet, right? I'll make it clear. So in sonnets, you can just say that sonnet is a poem, a form of poem which has got 14 lines. That much is enough. It has got 14 lines, right? And but there you can find that Petrarchian sonnet is there, Shakespearean sonnet is there, and Spencerian sonnet is there. Okay, Petrarchian, Shakespearean, and Spencerian. Three type of sonnets are there. Okay,
Ma'am, do all songs follow iambic pentameter?
no, not needed, but it follows. It I've been seen that it follows, but it's not. It's not a compulsory thing, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so only important thing which you have to take into mind is that if it should be a sonnet, it should have 14 lines, right? Then, what is Petrarchian sonnet? So, three divisions are there: Petrarchian sonnet, Shakespearean sonnet, and Spencerian sonnet, right? So, what is this Petrarchian sonnet? In Petrarchian sonnet, yeah, you can have a octave and a sestet. Very good. So, what is that? What is an octave? So I'll just make it clear.
Nine, eight
Yeah,
lines.
8 lines.
Nine
Yeah.
lines, six lines.
So two stanza will be there. You can find two stanzas, right? First stanza will be an octave, means 8 lines. Then another stanza will be there, which is of 6 lines. So the stanza with 8 lines is known as octave, and the stanza with 6 line is known as sestet, right? Okay, so and a particular fashion is there. So that is Petrarchian sonnet, and the fashion, the rhyming scheme. So octave. So the structure of Petrarchian sonnet is that octave and sestet. Then the rhyming scheme will be A B B A, A B B A. Then that is the rhyming scheme of octave. Then in sestet you can find C D C C D C, or in another type of sestet you could find C D E and C D E. Okay, so these are so I don't have enough time to stick on each and everything because it's not a regular class. I'm forgetting that anyway. But these are the things you should know. These are the backbones of poetry. That's why I'm taking a little bit of time, more time on this. Okay, I thought of spending much hour on this. That is because you can't, while you're learning it alone, you will come across a lot of confusion. So that's why I'm clearing all these things, right? So that is Petrarchian. The rhyming scheme you will get it from your textbook. It's in your study material. It's written there, right? Then comes Shakespearean sonnet. In Shakespearean sonnet, yeah, you can find that it is divided into three quaternions, and it is then one couplet. Quaternions means 4 lines. So one stanza will be 4 line, 4 line, 4 line. Likewise, three quaternions will be there, then one couplet. That is 2 line. So that is where you come across this couplet in Shakespearean sonnet, right? In Petrarchian sonnet, there is no couplet. So while you're answering the definition of a sonnet, you can never say that a sonnet will have a couplet. So in a Petrarchian sonnet, you can never come across a couplet there, right? So it's a peculiarity of or speciality of Shakespearean sonnet alone. Okay, then comes Spencerian sonnet. So that is a Shakespearean sonnet. You can find that A B A B C D C D E F E F then G G. That you can yeah, take it down from the, yeah, it has been, thank you Danya, as you're writing there everyone can take it down from the message, right? Thanks a lot. Then Spencerian sonnet is there. Neither one is Spencerian sonnet. And what is happening there? It is divided into again three quaternions and a couplet. But the couplet will be a rhyming couplet. Yeah. Okay. So three quaternions and a couplet. So actually Shakespeare was following the form of Spenser. Okay, Shakespeare came after Spenser. Spenser is a poet who lived in the early 16th century, and he followed the same rhyming scheme of Spenser, that is Shakespeare, right? So both are, but this rhyming scheme is different for both. So in both, the structure is same, that is three quaternions will be there and a couplet will be there, right? So there, A B A B, B C B C, C D C D, and E E. Another fashion which has been followed there, right? You can find it in your study material. So these are the things which you should know about the rhyming scheme, particularly in sonnets, right? That much is enough. Yeah, good, Akhila. Okay, so I think now we have done with our prosody part, right? So now, almost I think I have covered the 1.5 hours for explaining the whole structure and what a poetry is and an introduction on it, and we have gone through the grammar. We have gone I think I believe that I have cleared all your doubts in you might have heard about all these terms earlier, but many of you might have had many confusions inside you about this meter, food, feed, everything, and also the metrics. What is this metrics? What are these? See, what is this rhyming scheme, and why sonnet in sonnet different schemes are there and all. So I hope I have sorted all your confusions, and we have just sorted everything in a clear manner. Now we hope. Is there any doubt? I'm just switching on to the third unit, which is in where we are entirely coming to the portion of poetry. We are getting into the British poetry now. Any doubt, children? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Okay,
No, ma'am.
okay, fine. Thank you. So here, now in okay, thank you. Now, unit three, we are getting into the unit three. There we learn about the first, that is, era of modern age, that which starts from 14th century. Don't forget that, and it is all about in that era. We have to learn only about the poet Chaucer. Okay, Chaucer had a lot of contemporary writers in his age, but no need of learning those writers. We are just in your syllabus, especially in every syllabus, many of the syllabus in this era, in this 14th century, or in the outbreak of this modern age, we are learning only about Chaucer and his one and only one English work, that is the Canterbury Tale. Yeah. So, as I have told you, see, we had a discussion about old age, then modern age, then we discussed about old age, middle age, or medieval age, and then modern age, right? Likewise, we divided the whole literature into three parts or three ages, right? Now let us see. Now we are starting, our whole syllabus is starting from this modern age, and as a startup we are taking the 14th century alone, and there we are learning about Chaucer. So the age of Chaucer is very important. And as I have told you in my beginning of the session, that if you want to know about if you want to know about a poem and what actually the poem is and why this poem is written, you should know about the poet and his background, right? So for that sake, I'll just explain you. I told you a poet is made by his society, but and his the influence of his society and the social and political issues of that particular poet is making him to write a particular art piece of art, right? And here Chaucer is a person who had a great exposure. He was a person who wrote, actually, he lived in England, but he traveled a lot. He traveled to Italy, he traveled to France, and at that time, in those era, that is in the medieval age and all, European countries, not England was not a center of education. England was not at all a center where you can find literature, but it was in France and Italy and Greece and all that literature was flourished, right? So many French works, Italian works, and Greek works were read by the scholars who came from England, who passed or who crossed the boundary of England, and they traveled outside for the sake of learning more, for doing their higher studies. So they traveled to the other countries of Europe, and they could find many classical works from there, like Italian classics, French classics, and all, and Greek classics, and all. Many are there. So Chaucer was also such a person who loved learning, and he traveled to Italy, France, and all. He was a translator actually. He started to translate the works of French works, and then in his earlier phases he started to translate French works, right? Then he switched on to Italian works and he translated Italian works. Then after that, so he never wrote an English piece. He translated these works into English, right? But the Canterbury Tale, which we are gonna learn in this textbook, is the one and only work which was written by Chaucer, and he has wrote that in directly in English, and a purpose was there behind it, right? So what is the purpose? Actually, he was a translator. Then why he has done it? So what was happening in Europe at that time? Sorry, not Europe, in England. See, as we all know, if you are see familiar with the Arabic translations of Quran and all, we know that many people are there who don't know Arabic. So in India, many people are there who don't know Arabic, and they just see recite this Quran, and they just learn this Quran by just without knowing the meaning, and for the meaning they are depending on the scholars who know this, like, right? So, and their knowledge is actually, it's not a direct knowledge. They are depending upon another people who are so-called scholars of that particular language, and they are learning this particular scripture from, or the religious practices which they have to follow. Could you please provide notes of the class? Sorry, see, we are not good doing a regular class here. And actually, the thing which you have got is notes itself. It's not textbook which you have got. These are the study materials, right? And these are the notes which have been prepared by eminent scholars than me, right? So it would be nice that you are following these notes, right? Okay. Next, so let me continue. So they are depending on scholars for understanding, for cracking the religion which they have to practice and believe, right? So actually there is a chance of exploitation, social exploitation, right? Because wherever there is ignorance, exploitation happens, and also cultural mix also happens, right? Or the understanding level of that person may be limited, that scholar may be limited. So many confusions and inhibitions are there, obligations are there for a person to learn from another person, depending another person, if he doesn't know the language directly, right? So I just took this as an example to make you understand that what happened in 14th century English people, when they were learning Bible, or when they were following a Bible which was written in Hebrew, right, or Latin. So what happened is that in England there were a lot of churchmen in this medieval period. So just after the medieval period, we could find what the modern age. So the modern age is starting from the age of this Chaucer, right? So in medieval period, what happened is that, see, the totally the English people means the people of England were depending upon the popes from the Roman part and all. They were the Pope of the Rome, or the religion was taught from there. So those who want to learn religion, the churchmen, or the people who are interested in learning to become scholars in religion, to scholars in Bible, they are traveling there to Rome, and they're learning Latin and they are learning Bible and coming back to England. And the laymen, the normal people in England, they are depending upon these scholars or these people, right? These churchmen. So a lot of church were there, it was institutionalized, and a lot of see, it was really structured. A lot of hierarchy was there in church. There were a lot of position according to the seniority of scholarship of that particular church, that particular, see, each and every churchman, right? So a lot of people were there, like a lot of church were there, and so the whole society was under their control. And what happened is that actually it is not the problem of religion, but that particular period, at that particular period, see, the people of England, the churchmen of England started to exploit the common people by taking money from them, making many monetary benefits out of their knowledge, and asking even for blessings and even for praying and all, they will take money. Okay, and they were put in a very high hierarchical position, and the people were punished for nothing. Actually, the religion was taken into a different phase, and actually, what the religion is preaching, it was not met in the society of England. So ignorance was the very much were the reason for this particular situation. And the scholars like Chaucer and all, who got exposure, who learned Latin and who learned Bible by themselves, they found such a exploiting scenario in their age. So they decided to translate Bible. Okay, so John Wycliffe was the first person to translate Bible into English. The first person to translate Bible into English was John Wycliffe, and he is being called as the morning star of Reformation. So this is Reformation, right? This is Reformation. What is Reformation? So people like Wycliffe, Chaucer, and all, they realize that there is a need of reformation in the society of England. So they started to translate Bible. Right. So don't think that Chaucer has translated. He has not done any translation. He has just written this Canterbury Tale, and I'll come to that later. But Wycliffe, in this particular era itself, John Wycliffe was a contemporary person or a writer of his age, and John Wycliffe, he translated Bible into English, and people, the normal people, started to learn Bible, and they understood that what a beautiful religion Christianity is, what actually Jesus is preaching. He is not, see, such hierarchies, such obligations are not there, and such rules and regulations and such hectic process is not there in religion. It's a religion which is preaching love, care, and happiness in the society, without any hierarchy system, without any sort of difference in each and every person, regardless of his class, regardless of his money, nothing, right? So people started to learn it, and a great furious resistance came there. They understood, a group of people understood that they were undergoing exploitation. Right. So that movement is known as reformation. You got it? So a social reformation was happening in religion, and this came. The reason for the outbreak was this translation of Bible into English. Okay, and what our Chaucer has done, Chaucer has written a work called the Canterbury Tale, in which very satirically he has placed each and every character which lived in that particular scenario. That is, and he is showing the real picture of society through art. John Wycliffe, he has just revealed or enlightened Bible. But Chaucer, he has done more than that, or we can't say which is more and which is less, but we can say that he was a wonderful poet who satirically wrote the Canterbury Tale, in which he has placed each and every character as a satirical piece, as a mouthpiece for the society. And each and every character is a mock character of each and every clerical or clergy, sorry, it's not cleric, clergyman, right? Each and every clergyman or the churchman, according to the hierarchy, we could find that he has placed each character in such a way, and he's mocking them. See, we could find that the people, the churchmen, are expected to take the duties of religion, but they are interested in many materialistic pleasures, and they are experiencing a lot of pleasures, and they are making a lot of monetary benefit, and they are making money out of the society. They're exploiting. All these things are very much mirrored or reflected in his work Canterbury Tale. So that is why Canterbury Tale is so much celebrated in literature, right? So that's a great work. That's a huge work done by Chaucer. And my dear children, actually, it's a very big poem. It's not a simple poem or it's a very big poem, and you have just got to learn the prologue of Chaucer, as Chaucer's Canterbury Tale. You don't have to learn the poem, just the prologue. You know what a prologue is? It's an introduction to the poem, right? So you have just to learn the prologue of Chaucer's Canterbury Tale. That itself is a little bit big, but enough. But you have to, at least you have to learn that, because you have decided to become masters in literature, right? So, in order to know that, understand each and every character in this poem, you should know what was the society at that time, and why such a person, such a character has been kept in this poem. See, the poem, it is actually poem, right? It's a poetry which we are talking about, but you can come through a lot of characters in that. They are just the mock reflection of the real people who lived at that time, or the real clergymen, or the real churchmen, or the real socially elevated people at that particular time. Okay, so and another thing which you have to know is that, see, the background of the historical background of the historical event which was there. 15 minutes. The historical event which was undergoing at that time was that, see, 100 years war was there just before this, right? The impact of 100 years war in England with France happened, right? And so you can just understand what will be the situation of that particular land. England was not a land which you know now. At that time they were really scattered. No particular language was there, no particular, see, till the we know the Norman conquest and all, which happened in medieval period, that all the people, the official language of England was French. You know that because after the Norman conquest, people who were educated, they talked in French. But later only we know that the standardization of language happened. That is the English which we are learning now, right? So it was building up. It was a time of building up this country. Okay, so that should be there in your mind, right? Then another thing is the Black Death. A pandemic happened, just like our corona. So it what is this bad Black Death? See, plague was there, plague. So a lot of people, human resource was considerably shortened by this Black Death, right? Then came peasants revolt. Peasants revolt, we know that there were a lot of hierarchy in the society, like landlords, aristocratic people were there. Then see peasants, and they were not given proper wages and all, and their revolt happened. Many things happened, that this politics is there behind it also. So people, children, please read all these things. So you have to read about. So see, I can only help you out to say or to guide you to read what you have to read, right? So please note it down. Read on 100-Year War, read on the Black Death, peasants revolt. These are the backgrounds or the historical events which happened in this 14th century, or the impact of these three events, historical events, could be reflected in the background, from the background of 14th century England, right? And another thing is reformation, very important thing, right? So, and from this, you see, in the next textbook we'll be going taking the thread, we'll be carrying on this thread throughout our different centuries, and we'll reach this 21st century when we reach in the 10th page, 10th book, right? So, um, so here from this unit 3 onwards, see till unit 3, the things which I have taught you today is enough for you, right? No need of going in a deeper manner. But from this page number 62, you have to read, right? And you should know about Chaucer and his background, the stories. Then let us talk about Canterbury Tale, right? So hope so far is okay. Is there any doubt, children? Any doubt? Okay, no. So now let us see. Yeah, somebody was talking. Okay, fine. Okay, so now let us see about. See, I talked a little bit about the life of Chaucer, so you can know more about Chaucer from this book itself. Don't go for any other references, right? This book is very. See, this is a study material. So this is a consolidated critical appreciation essays which are given here, and you will have to write, or the questions will come only from this particular material, right? So at least you have to complete reading this study materials, and without reading this, don't go for further reference. If and all somebody, anybody are see anybody is completing this reading, you can go for neither articles or research works and all, or any other references and all. It's well and good, but at least you have to complete reading your study material which is given to you, right? And then in page unit 5, you can find that it is the general prologue which you have to learn. Okay, as I have told you, you don't have to learn the Canterbury Tale poetry. It is the prologue which you have to learn, and in the prologue is being given there in your textbook, in your study material itself. See, you may feel that this book is so thick, but it's just because the text is given there behind. Right from page number 127 onwards, it is the lines of the prologue, general prologue. So, no need of going anywhere and searching the lines, right? It is given there in your study material itself, okay? And so, please read it, and see there, very clear glossary is given, and explanations are also given, and a supplementary reading is also there in page number 184. Once after finishing this reading, you can move to the supplementary reading. Then see, doubts of each and every line you can clear it from this study material itself. We don't need, no need of going anywhere. See, the glossary is given there, meanings, right? The meaning of difficult terms are given there, and you have got uh, the critical appreciation as essays in this study material. These are the in essay mode itself. It has been prepared by eminent scholars. Okay, so please read these. These are not, never take it as normal textbook. It is a study material which has been given to you. These are the notes which are provided by IGNO University for you people, right? So no need of further going for any other notes. So these are the notes. So it is fashioned in a particular manner, like say it is divided as essays. So read the essays. The critical comments are there in this essays itself. Once you finish reading it, you'll be able to write any questions which have been asked. Right? I assure you that. Then I'll just give you an idea about this Canterbury Tale. So these are
Excuse me,
the,
ma'am.
yeah.
I'm not clear. Some connection problem, I think.
Is that for everybody?
No, ma'am. We
No,
can hear. No, ma'am.
Megha, I
No,
think
ma'am.
you have got some connection issue, Megha, so please change your position.
Okay, ma'am. Okay,
Just
ma'am.
relocate yourself to some other place, right? Okay, fine. Anyway, very good. It's well and good that you are communicating so that we can give you proper guidance, right? Okay, so yeah, okay, very good. Then, so what I am talking, so we are here talking about Canterbury Tale. So I told you, as a in a consolidated manner, I told you the purpose of writing this particular poem by Chaucer, and why he wrote, and what's it is completely satirical and mocking, and each and every character has got its own relevance and social purpose for it, and social reforming purpose for it, and all right. So anyway, I'll give you a peripheral structural idea about the whole poem. See, actually, what is happening there in this poem? It is being carried on, though it is a poem, it is being carried on just like a story, right? So, 29 pilgrims are going for a pilgrimage, right? So, you know what is a pilgrimage? Yeah, visiting a yeah, travelers who are going for a religious purpose, right? For emancipation, yeah, religious journey, for emancipation, for purifying themselves, achieving moksha, or see, many such purpose are there, and many people go for such pilgrimage to a particular shrine or particular church or particular, yeah, for purgation. Very good. So these are the purpose of going for pilgrimage. Here also we could find that, see, many people, a group of people, the group are not becoming a group, but they are just eventually forming a group, right? They come across each other and it forms a group, and it's about 29 travelers are there. 29, right? And they all come to a place called Tabard Inn, and in that inn, Tabard Inn, Tabard Inn, it's a restaurant, like, right? We'll while traveling, we'll come across a particular inn, and we'll, yeah, Tabard Inn, yeah, we'll stay there for refreshment and all, right? And see, what happens is that they all are very uh, exhausted, and they make a plan. They plans that actually they are going to a shrine of Thomas Becket. Okay, yeah, Thomas Beckett's shrine. What, and there, actually, Thomas Becket is a person, is a priest, who, a clergyman who lived into 11th century, right? 11th century, and he was a person who sacrificed his life in the name of, for the sake of religion. When political interference came, when a pressure came upon him, that countryman, I told you the situation of religion at that time. It was totally, politics and religion was mixed, and in the name of religion, people were exploited, and the kings, they exploited the men in the name of religion, and churchmen, they hold a great coverage all over the country, and also so like great politics were there between the churchmen and the kings. So many conflicts were there. Such a conflict happened in the see 11th century, in the medieval period. And see, and what happened is that the Thomas Becket, the clergyman, was forced by the king to accept the norms of the king and to compromise religion. But Thomas Becket was a person who was not ready to compromise religion, even if he give up his life, right? And what happened is that the king murders this particular clergyman or this particular priest, and he is being murdered from this particular cathedral, a particular cathedral, right? And that particular cathedral is of Thomas Becket, is from where he got murdered, is called the Canterbury. Okay, and the people are going to this shrine. It is the shrine where people, so after this happened in 11th century, and after 2 3 centuries, you could find that that particular cathedral became a religious place where people come there and pray for their welfare and all. Right. So that is happening there. Okay. So eventually that is also happening. So, and by this time, by this 14th century, what happened? This particular shrine became a place of worship. Right. So here in this Canterbury tale, Chaucer has designed a group of people with, I told you, 29 of them are there. Each people, each character has got his own importance of social satire. Okay, so you have the your job is to find out the characters. The characters are there, no need of finding it out from any outer sources. It is there, mentioned in the book itself. Okay, so 29 of them are there, and they are together going to this shrine, and they decide to talk, see, each one has to tell a story so that they could make their journey easier. Okay, they want to lessen their see, it was really hectic one, so they want to lessen their weakness and their see, they were exhausted. So for that purpose, they decided to tell, each one should tell a story, a tale. Okay, so that's why it has been named as the Canterbury Tales. So each tale has got its own importance, each character has got its own importance. But see, there is no need of learning the tales for you, because the tales are being explained in the poem. We are learning only the prologue, and in that prologue, you have to know only about these 29 characters. The character's name and their appearance is been explained in the prologue. And see, actually, prologue is an introduction to the poem, right? So in that, each and every character name is being introduced, and their outlook, their see, dressing style, their personality, their attitude, then their social job and their social responsibilities, and their expected social responsibilities, and what they are doing actually. So such satirical things you will learn in this prologue. So the prologue will introduce you about these characters and their character type, and their dressing style and all. This much are there for you to learn, right? So children, it is all about this. So all of you, I think now it will be easy for you to crack the whole thing. So any doubts? I think the time is up. Now let us move to. So we have finished the whole thing. Whole thing means I know that. See, it is impossible for me to. crack the whole poem in such a short period of time, because we are not doing a regular program here. It is a distant program. No, ma'am, very much satisfied. Thank you, Reshma. Okay. Now, see, now actually my job is, I have done my job with this first book. Now, what I have to tell you is that, advise you is that, most of the students, what they do is that they'll listen to the class and they'll admire the class and all, but they won't go with me. They won't do their job. Yeah, my phone number I'll give. But see, what you have to do is that you have to be with our contact class. See, once now today I have finished this one. Tomorrow we'll be finishing the second book, right? Then I'll come only after 1 week. So by that time, you people have to finish your job of reading this, right? And I'm sure that you'll have a lot of doubts. Then we can keep a doubt clearance for 10 minutes and then start our next book in the next week. So if you are with me, really learning with me, then I assure you that it will be an easy task. But what happens normally is that, see, students will keep it aside, and when the when the timetable of the examination is been announced, they'll be thinking about all these things. Yeah, thinking about all these things, and they might have forgotten all my classes and all. And see, all this rushing happens, and you'll have to submit your assignment, and you'll be with that and all. See, so don't make all these pressures. These are unnecessary pressures which you are creating yourself, right? So it's very easy. Do it with me, be with me, then you can crack it in a very easy manner. Then about your assignment, right? See, the questions you have to download right from the site. But what I have to tell you is that, see, the submission date, everything you have to clear it from coordinator. Don't call me for that because I don't know the answer. That's the problem. The another thing is that, see, what I know, what I have to advise is that the assignment is really a mock question paper of the real question paper which you will be facing in your examination. If you are preparing your assignment in a sincere manner, then it will be very easy to score your marks in your exam, real exam, right? So please don't go for any copying. Please don't. I have seen a lot of copying, the students who are copying, and see, that's not the way how you have to be, because you are PG students, you are more matured ones, and the purpose of your learning is not to just get the certificate, but you should have something in your knowledge, right? Then only you can take make benefit out of your certificate. See, if and all you are facing any interview for a job and all, see, they'll ask you in a deeper manner from your PG portions only. Right. So your PG portion should be learned in a very sincere manner, and I assure you that if you are learning IGNO University textbook in a proper way, you can very easily crack your net UGC net exam also. Okay, don't think that I'm motivating you towards this university, but see, I'm an assistant professor of Calicut University actually, but I know that how much important this particular textbook, this particular syllabus do have. That's why I'm advising you to be with your syllabus, crack it, learn it properly, go through each and every points and make a note out of that, then it will be easy for you. Okay, enough for getting. Yeah, these study materials are very much enough. Okay, and see, firstly you have to, the basic thing is that you have to finish off going through the study material. Then if you get time, well and good. If you are going for another further reference, right? Without finishing this, you'd never go for another reference, right? Any other doubts? So you were asking for my yeah. I'll chat it here. Yeah, my phone number. Children, please remember that never call me for official things because I don't know the answer. You can just call me for anything if you have got doubt in your textbook, right? For the submission of your assignment and all, you have to call your coordinator, right? Okay, I think it's much time, enough time. Is there any doubt? Can I wind up?
മാം
Before winding up, let me
ടുമോറോസ്
take
ക്ലാസ്
a
ടുമോറോസ്
screenshot.
ക്ലാസ്സിന്റെ സമയം ഒന്ന് പറയാമോ?
Yeah, I didn't get.
നാളത്തെ ക്ലാസ് ഈ സമയമാണോ?
ആ സെയിം ആണ്. നിങ്ങൾക്ക് ഷെഡ്യൂൾ കിട്ടിയിട്ടില്ല?
ഇല്ല, ഇത് ഞാനൊരു ഗ്രൂപ്പിൽ കണ്ട് കയറിയതായിരുന്നു.
ആണോ?
ആ
ഓക്കെ ഓക്കെ. Hello, I'm sorry. Are you there, my children? Yeah. Yeah, somebody was talking. I'm sorry. I lost your. What were you talking?
Ma'am, can you show me that phone number again? I couldn't write it.
A phone number. Yeah, I have posted it here, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Is it? Yeah. Is it legible now?
Ah, yes, yes.
Okay. So, my dear children, so what I have to say is that, one second. Please clear your doubts, the official doubts with your coordinator. And if you have got any other doubts from the textbooks or academic doubts, you can get connected with me, right?
Ma'am, you will be taking classes on Saturdays and Sundays?
Yeah.
May, yeah.
No,
It's possible?
actually, today I have got one session. Then tomorrow also it will be my session, and see then it will go in another way. So you can just contact your coordinator to get the timetable, right? See, in the next week you'll have session of Fawaz sir. Another sir is there, but session will be there, right? Then I think in from the other next week onwards, an alternative session will be there of mine and Fawaz, right? So you can just that is Saturdays will be taken by Fawaz and Sunday by me. I think so. So please go for please contact your coordinator. Your, they will give you, and you may just see the link will be posted in the groups, right? You have got your own group. Your coordinators will be posting the link in your group, and so you can so beware of that, be conscious about that, and follow it, right?
Okay, thank you.
Then any other doubts? So can we wind up it?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.